being able to understand to put the gun down and realize that your power is in the vote. Good afternoon, good afternoon, and good afternoon. Welcome to the best of the 757 Community Talk Show. And of course, I'm your host, the one and only Captain 85. How you doing? But nevertheless, we're going to do our best to keep on bringing you information uh, so that we can get our young people engaged in planting and charting their own future and getting um, to know what power really is. The power of the gun, if you're in the military or you're a police officer, somebody that's guarding your community, guarding your country, and whatever the government help support other countries that they need support because they may not have a bigger military or military presence to deter wars. So why are we allowing our young people with guns at an early age, and we're losing a lot of lives? We are losing a lot of young people in our community from gun violence. And we have to talk about it before it happened. It's called prevention. We can't prevent it after it happened, saying we didn't know. Well, you can't keep going down the same trail, seeing body after body after body, and say we need help. You got to start talking before this occurs. You can't bring a life back once it's been taken. All we are seeing in our community, in the Afro-American community, in the 757, and around VA, North Carolina, and all the other states, Chicago, nothing but gun violence in the Black community. We have to do more. We got to get better. We have to learn to communicate with young people. We acting like we're afraid of them. When the young people, most of the time, are carrying a gun because they are afraid, not knowing when or someone is going to try to take their lives. As we used to say in old school, we're seeing people die today that we never seen die before. Every single day or every week. It's only 52 weeks in a year, 365 days in a year. And it seems like there's every day somebody's dying. And when we do get tattled it up, it's always less than more. It's an ongoing process. And we must do more about trying to change the narrative of what's going on in our community. So I'm asking each and all the adults, if you got young people in your family, you got children that are 17, it is time to educate them about voting. Educate them to let them know that their vote counts. If you have a child that's going to be 18 by November the 1st, these young people that are now 17, and I'm pretty sure all over the United States, there are millions that's going to be 18 by November that will be eligible to vote in the 2024 election. Don't get distracted by the news and all the political ads. The young people hold the power to the seat of the presidency of the United States. And in the local elections, if young people put their guns down, register to vote, they might even have the power to tilt the power in the local cities. We have to stop pretending that we're going to keep going down the same trail, singing the same song. people get in office. Now, I know in Virginia Beach, where they have already got the 10-1 system in place, they are still spending tax dollars to reverse the process. And if they're not, they're doing the switching bait. You got more people running for the mayor's office and the mayor in Virginia Beach than you ever had in the history of people in office. So can you explain to me what's going on? We have to be visual. We have to understand that we must come together and get our young people registered to vote. There ain't no sense of pointing fingers after someone that took their lives. Give them the real power to chart their course in history. 2024 is a history-making time. And it's up to each and every one of us that have kids, nieces and nephews, next door neighbors, to engage them in get registered for the November election. This is a major historic time in their lives, where back in my time, we had to march in the 60s and 50s. Martin Luther King, Megan Evers, just to name a few. We got the vote because the only reason we got the vote in the 60s, the only reason we got the vote in the 60s, and people don't talk about it, is because the bus line that the white people owned was going broke. And they went to Johnson and said, hey, what are you going to do? We are losing money. Don't you know the power of the black dollar? Don't you know the power of the black dollar? We spend more money than most groups, minority groups in the United States. We spend money we don't even have. We get bad credit, they give us credit. Why do you think they give you credit? At 18 and 23% interest. So you never get out of debt. Are you educating your kids on the right and proper things? Yeah, I would love to have some of the designer clothes, but I can't afford them. I can only afford what my pockets allow me to spend. When I was 18 years old, when I got a job, I was working for $1 an hour. My counterparts, the white teens, they was working at $1.45 or $1.60 an hour. But in order for me to make any money, I had to work 100 hours. 100 hours a week to make $100. That's why I explain to people, I'm not bragging, but you can't beat me in anything I decide to do. You can slow me down, but I do the work of 4 and 5 people because my mind is set to win, not to lose. I'm not racist. People are like, well, you talk like you're racist. I'm talking what God has put in me. He said, believe, have faith of a mustard seed. What my parents instilled in me, my mom and my dad. We used to have a little, a 2-acre garden off of Portsmouth and Chestnut Street in Portsmouth. When we had the guy with the tractor come in and break the ground up, we had I can't forget what it's called now, a one-wheel thing, and you take it and make the rows So you can make the rows of how many rows of food you're going to have to plant. My father was out of work for almost 7 years when I was about 6 years old, 4 and 5 years old. He was out of work. And we had to raise our own food. My mother and father, they're from Murfreesboro, North Carolina. My mom and dad's family had farms, acres of farms. They grew their own food. They raised their own chickens and pigs and hogs. So when they did what they did during the time when they were killing the hogs and all this, they would tell my mother, come down and give us enough food for 2 or 3 months. Give us fresh chickens, and we had to kill them when we got home. We worked in the garden. We got up at 5 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark. Be out in the fields at 6 o'clock as the sun rise. We out in the field. Stay there till 12 o'clock. Once 12 o'clock come, you leave the field because it's too hot. Then you come back about 3 o'clock as the sun begins to move around the planet or lower before sunset. Then you water the plants. You never put water on plants in a garden when the sun is up at 12 and between 12 and 3, because it cooks the plants. And most people don't know how to farm and don't know how to raise, plant seeds and raise, crops. They don't know. Our young people used to go into the grocery store. It's already there. But we got to do better than that. They got guns. If they want to have a gun, see what they don't tell you. They have a right to the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. Have a right to bear arms. You can have a gun at 18 years old. You just got to register. You got to go to take a class so you know how to use a gun for self-defense, not running around through the neighborhood shooting at each other. It ain't the Wild Wild West. Black people in the Western days didn't even do that. After slavery, they didn't even do that. White people didn't roll up on you like, yo, give me your gun. You don't supposed to have it. Everybody had a right. Now here we in the 2024, and if you look like you got a gun, you get shot and killed. What's going on, people? What's going on? We got politicians making rules and that take your lives and say, hey, I'm scared. Well, if you're scared, why are you on the police force? Back in the day, the man they called the Long Ranger, the movie was made after, was a black man. He was a runaway slave, hid amongst the Indians. I wonder why they couldn't find him if he hid amongst the Indians. But that's a story for another day. But he was deputized, and he brought in over 3,000 people that broke the law without firing a single shot. But today, if you look through history, the white sheriffs, they go out and get a posse. They ain't just kill people. They brought them in. They brought them in to be tried for the crimes. You're not guilty until you go in front of the judge. So today's laws, the police is your judge and jury. They ain't even got to take you into court. Well, you had a gun. I was scared. Okay, case dismissed. But I don't blame the police officers. I blame those that do not teach and educate our children that you got to obey the law. When a policeman get up in the morning, he does a 9 to 5. He wants to go home to his family. If you out there just shooting and killing people in the neighborhood, senior citizens, teenagers, your next door neighbor, I guess you don't care about going home because you took somebody else's life that ain't did nothing to you. Last week, young man, 10 years old, killed by a stray bullet. Kid, 6-year-old, taking a gun to school, shooting the teacher. What are we turning into? We're looking in the news that all the news is all about black people. It don't matter if it's VA, North Carolina, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., California. We're just killing each other. We're killing each other, and you got 3 generations of black men in prison. You got the father, the son, and the grandfather. Black and brown. Then maybe I say not have the facts straight. Over 10 years ago, when they come out with the orange is the new black, really they was trying to tell you it's now women in prison. Women in prison. What are we turning into? It's not a video. This is not a video game. Once you're gone, you're gone. We have to do better. And that's why we got to get out the vote. And my campaign is guns down, pin up. Pin up, gun down. Your gun is in your voice. Use your voice instead of the gun. You can live to see another day, another birthday, graduate from college, open up your own business, become an entrepreneur, and be successful. You ain't getting successful with no gun. And you might say, well, everybody say that. Well, everybody might say it. But because of physical restraint, but I'm getting much better. Because God don't make no mistakes. We do. We give up. I don't give up on youth. I don't give up on the future generation. I know what it is to understand what life is all about. Your vote counts. If you're 17, you need to register to vote. Register to vote. So by November, you can vote. You can make real history. You can make real history in 2024. Real history. I don't know if they're going to put you on the news and tell you, well, the Afro-American community, the white community at 18 are not going to vote. Who you vote for is up to you. Don't nobody know who you vote for when you get behind that curtain or turn your ballot in. But get the facts. Get the facts. Research the person that you're going to vote for. I just want to play a clip, because I got a couple of them today that I want to play to give you an opportunity to make a choice in what's going on in our community.
The American people are tired of this charade. As I said before, my Republican colleagues simply grasp at straws that do not exist. While House Democrats in the Biden-Harris administration work to cut costs of prescription drugs, expand student loan forgiveness, and mitigate the threat of gun violence, Republican members of Congress continue to chase after Russian disinformation campaigns from the 2020 election, which have been thoroughly debunked again and again. And as usual, in this committee, We know who is in charge. It is the bondless, broke bluffer, twice impeached, 4 times indicted, insurrection initiator, election denying, self-declared dictator on day one, and puppet for Putin. The one who wants to terminate the Constitution and defund the FBI. The one who romanticized exchanging of love letters with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. The one who just last week embraced autocrat Orban of Hungary to discuss their diabolical plans to destroy our democracy. The one who proposed a policy to ban Muslims from this country. The one who just this week said any Jewish person who votes for a Democrat hates their religion and Israel. The one who called neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches chanting, "Jews will not replace us, good people." The one who referred to African nations as, I quote, shithole countries. The one who called NFL players, the majority whom are black, sons of bitches for taking a knee in protest of the ever-present racial inequality and police brutality that continues to pervade our justice system. The one who called Mexicans rapists and promised to build a wall and have them pay for it, and in case you missed it, it didn't happen. The one who told women of color from the born in the United States, elected to Congress and serving on this very committee, to go back to their own countries. The one who bragged about grabbing women by their private parts. The one who confused his rape victim, whom he claimed was not his type, for his very own ex-wife. The one who is an admitted and committed adulterer who attempted to pay off a porn star for her silence. The one who has publicly mocked people with disabilities. The one who dodged the draft and referred to prisoners of war as losers, the very people who pay a high price so we could enjoy the freedoms that far too many of us take for granted. The one who boasted about being able to stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue to shoot someone and not lose votes. The one who promoted political and physical violence multiple times, including most recently at my rally in my home state of Ohio, where he declared there would be a bloodbath if he didn't win. The one who intentionally denied COVID was deadly and eventually suggested injecting bleach into our bodies to kill the respiratory virus that took the lives of 1 million people in the United States. The one who ordered his son-in-law get top secret security clearance, overruling concerns flagged by intelligence officials, who, according to this committee's chairman, admitted the former president's son-in-law crossed the line of ethics by accepting a $2 billion investment into that very same son-in-law's fledgling firm only 6 months after leaving the White House. If any of this sounds crazy, it's because it is. This might sound unbelievable, but it's all true. These are facts, indisputable facts, a thing that is known and proven to be true. This may be a foreign concept to some of my colleagues, but for those of us who still have a relationship with the truth, please know this is not an exhaustive list of inappropriate, unethical, and questionable behavior by the maniacal manipulator of Mar-a-Lago, because I could go on, but I only have 5 minutes. Yet here we are again, trying to make sense out of nonsense. I would humbly, respectfully ask my Republican colleagues on this committee to stop falling over yourselves to win the approval of one, because millions of people are depending on you to defend our delicate democracy.
Well, this is a couple of years ago, but to refresh your mind of what our young people are not hearing and what some people may not have seen this video or keep up with the news of past, future, and present. These are the things that were said about our community as well as other communities. But our young people are still dying in the streets. Our young people are being denied to know their history in school because they don't want to hurt the feelings of the other people when it comes about slavery. It's your history. It's what you do. But then when you want to talk about it, you only see us in the news. You only see our kids running from each other. In our community, the seniors can't go outside. Kids can't go to bed and sleep in their own bedroom without bullets taking their lives while they're sleeping. We should be asking what is really going on in our community when we have all these community leaders and churches. And I ain't seen no one march when it comes to stopping the violence in our community. And I've been doing this for years. When I first got to be president of AM 1110 WZAM Gospel Radio, I consulted with the owner and asked him, could I give an hour time to any church for free who want to be in the community on this, talk about stopping gun violence when it started in the 80s, late 80s, about 86, 87. And no one would take me up on the offer. They didn't have to pay for it. As they called, we were going to do a live remote and broadcast it. And I had a few people call in from the church saying, oh, yeah, we already doing something in the community at our church. Well, when people do stuff in their community at their church, let's clarify what you're doing. You're talking to your congregation. You're not talking to the community because everybody in the community don't go to your church. Why isn't there a coalition of church pastors coming together and banding together about this gun violence? We got to wait till one die and have a funeral at the church. Sometimes we just don't want to say the right things, ask the right questions, because it's really just basically a common sense question. With all the churches we got in this 757, black churches, why ain't we marching to stop the violence? We got individual organizations that are not even in the church doing more marching and talking about gun violence than anybody else. But yet the churches are silent. I need to have some on here and tell me something different. Because I've been working in the community ever since I was a child. That's what I'm trying to figure out, what's going on. Sorry about the interruption. As you can always tell when talking about things, they'll try to block you from being on to broadcast. Juanita Williams, how you doing? How you doing? Thanks for chiming in. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but when it comes to speaking the truth, it's the hidden voices that they don't want to wake up. And the hidden voices are young people that they don't want people to be aware, want them to be aware how important their voice is, how important that it's their voice is needed in to 24 election. We have to educate our young people. The power is in them to make history in 2024. And they can cut me off. I'm going to come back on. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep bringing what needs to be said. God don't make no mistakes. We do. The vote is important. Our young people are important. Our young vote is important. We have to recognize where the power lies in 2024. If you haven't registered to vote, if you got a son or a daughter, they're 17, take them to the polls. So when November comes, if they're going to be 18 by November, they need to be registered to vote. It's their future. We are seniors, citizens. We are getting older. Our leadership is dying in the streets and in their beds, in the pipeline to prison. Their voice need to be heard. In Virginia Beach, Sabrina Wooten, whose mission is to become the first Afro-American woman to be mayor of the city of Virginia Beach. She can't do it by herself. She can't stand it by alone. You see what they're doing. They are stacking the deck. It's splitting the votes. You got about 4 or 5 other Black people, which I will discuss in another time, running for office in Virginia Beach for the mayor, including the mayor, including one city council person who was there before, John Moss. So how many people going to run for the city of mayor, for the mayor's seat? Who's qualified? Some of the upcoming people, well, I'm thinking about running for mayor in the Afro-American community. They're not even in politics. They just people that work and decided to say, hey, I'm going to run for office because somebody asked me to step up. Well, you got a candidate there, Sabrina Wooten. Sabrina Wooten's there. And majority of the people in Virginia Beach is overwhelmingly keep her there. And all these people that just coming out the woodwork, never ran for an office or ran for office and didn't make it. Now they want to get in and split the vote. I'm dedicated to make sure that the real person that holds the power to our future generation is Sabrina Wooten. The mayor's done a great job, but he's still spending tax dollars trying to change the 10-1 vote that the citizens of Virginia Beach, Black, Spanish, minorities, and even people that don't even care about the politics, they already spoken. They want this system to stay in place. They don't want to go back to the at-large system. And we got to stop playing around with tax dollars. You don't want to give the city workers a raise? You don't want to give more to the police department, the first responders, but you want to spend millions of dollars trying to overturn something that the government said this is the new law in Virginia Beach. What's going on, people? They can cut me off, but they can't stop me from coming back on. They can't stop me from talking because I got too many platforms. This is only one. It seems like when you're talking about the people that causes the problems, they don't want you talking about it. Notice when I played an old video, about 45, then they're going to cut me off. We got to stop playing around and ask the right question for candidates saying, hey, we are working for you. How you working for me when 45 said, hey, get that SB off the football field. He has not worked again. Now Donald Trump done did so much for black people. Are you serious? Where you get these people from? You've been hoodwinked. You've been ran amok. You've been bamboozled. That's your right to who you vote for. That's your right for who you vote for in Virginia Beach. I have voted for about every mayor and helped get them elected. From Bobby Dow to William Sessom. But the difference between William Sessom, he kept his word. Bobby Dow, I don't know where you at. $170 million from the Democratic Party was given to every city for grassroots organizations. What happened to the $170 million in Virginia Beach? How did you spread it out? You gave land, the city of Virginia Beach gave land for the Afro-American Museum, Cultural Museum to be built. Did you donate 10 or $20 million of that so you can break ground? The Afro-American community don't have major money, but out of $170 million, I see Norfolk donated $50 million to the Chrysler Museum. You could have donated $20 million to start the groundbreaking of the African Culture Center. And how come we never know how much money they have? How come that's never brought up at city council meetings? And if it is, how much money is there now? How come is when a person that used to be on city council now heads the sheriff department is asking the city to give $1.7 million to bring back the DARE program that didn't work, that was abandoned over 10 years ago, and you want to bring it back because it was working? Where was it working at? Maybe you don't. Like I spoke to the mayor a couple of weeks ago. John Hopkins report said it didn't work. And besides, it wasn't for gun violence. It was for alcohol and drugs. And you're talking about bringing it back. So what part of your program that you're going to institute for young people to stop gun violence when you don't do nothing for young people in the city? But lock them up. Lock them up. I came to the city, sent a letter to the recreation department, asking them would they purchase some of my books? A letter was sent to me back from the person that now holds that seat in the recreation department saying he never received anything. He said, quote, only thing Mr. Vaughn wanted to do is sell some books. I spent thousands of dollars in developing this program. Thousands of dollars to develop this program. I haven't spoken to the director of the Recreation Center Department, but isn't he talking on my dime, the taxes that I pay? The community, the Afro-American community, that I just want to sell some books? Well, why are you getting a paycheck to tell me what I'm doing? Show me what you're doing. But other than blocking our youth from using the recreation center. Pharrell Williams donated $1 million to the recreation center to build a recording studio. Now, the Lake Edwards community cannot go in there and use that recording studio. It's been turned over to the school board. So tell me, Mr. Recreation Center Director. And then his secretary called and said, well, we apologize. He never got this. He never got that. And then I turned around and emailed it to her cell phone and to her email. And that was over a year ago. I guess they didn't get the memo. We are dealing with people that say one thing in public and behind closed doors makes decisions like we ain't listening to them. So why do I endorse Sabrina Wooten? Did she ask me? Nope. Am I on a campaign? I did sign up. I did go to some of the meetings, but no. I'm doing this because it's important for the community, all the communities. Doesn't matter what race, creed, or color you are. Because I know we ain't got 400,000 Black people in Virginia Beach. Those are the kind of numbers Sabrina Wooten got to run and to win her seat on city council. But running for mayor, she's putting that all on the line, as well as her life, to try to correct the things that's holding us back. And all people think Black people hate white people. We don't hate white people. It looks like we hate ourselves. But we're getting a bad shake when it comes to Black people wanting to do things in the largest city in Virginia, that is Virginia Beach. But we are not supposed to have any power. Oh, no, you can't do that. You can't have power to do this and do that unless you're a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. I'm still waiting on my diabetic shoes going on 2 years. I don't have no problem. But the facts are the facts. If I had money, I know a lot of people would be gone. I'm just telling you, we don't need money. We need votes. We need to register our young people, get them to the polls, let them know, do their research, give them the information on the candidates that are running. Let them make their own choices. I'm saying what my choice is for mayor. When I pray and my spirit tells me what to do, that's what I do. I don't hate nobody. I'm a spiritual person. I go to church. I've been in my church for 71 years. 71 years. My mother went to that church until she died. So that's why I've been there 71 years, because when she was pregnant, I was in the church. after I was born, I still was in the church. As I began to grow up, I still in the church. I also joined Holiness Church, but I'm still a Baptist. I sing in the choir at Holiness Church and my church. I studied Jehovah's Witness because my sister-in-law was Jehovah's Witness. And in the summer when I went to New York, I studied with her. My brother is a Muslim. My wife's family is Muslim. But I read the Quran. I have followed some of the teachings of Farrakhan. I have also been in the presence of Farrakhan. But you have to understand this. You have a right to vote for anybody you want to. I don't dislike Bobby Dow or AKA Bobby. I don't. But if you sit there and tell you're going to do something, you don't do it. I think when I was raised up, my mother and father told me somebody tell you they're going to do something, they don't do it. They're liars. And the truth ain't in them. I'm not asking for money for me. I ask for money to do the work I need to get done to stop the violence. But you got a better plan. And he's not the only mayor. I've been to Portsmouth. I've been to the school board in Norfolk. They stopped returning calls. They even block. If I call the number, they say it's disconnected. What, the switchboard disconnected? You're in the directory. Your name was given to me from the other people that work for the school board. City council people or delegates told me, as I have won awards from Hampton University for my community service work, I'm the only one that have ever won an award from the Black Psychiatrists Association for the work I do. And they told me I didn't have permission to put that or show that in anything that I'm discussing. What? Have I been hoodwinked? Have I been bamboozled? I got so many awards that I was throwing them away. I've been doing this since the 70s. I had an office down on West York Street. I sent a letter to the captain of the police back then. His name was Captain85 of the Norfolk Police Department. I sent him a letter and signed it, Captain85. So he sent 2 detectives to my office from the people that I was renting my space from. And when I got there, they said, hey, Mr. Bond, you had 2 detectives come here looking for you, and they was questioning us about what you do here. I said, oh. She said, we never had no police come here question us about a tenant. I said, the only thing I did is I sent them a letter and, about alcohol and drug prevention at the time. And they said, well, they left their card for you to call them. So I called them, and the police officers, detective said, hey, we were investigating because we did not know there was another captain in the city of Norfolk. I said, yeah, I know. He said, well, I said, I just wanted to have a meeting, and that's the part of my name I use under my program. He said, Mr. Bond, he said, there's only one captain in this city, and that's Captain Henson. And I said, well, he runs the police department. But now there is another captain in Norfolk. His name is Captain85. And you can let me know if he wants to meet with me or not. You have a nice day. You can't tell me to change my name. I ain't did nothing wrong. I can call myself whatever I want. Ain't no legal right because his name is Henson. But he don't know that my name is Henson too. So I must be Captain Henson too. Okay? For people that don't know. There's many, I go by many names. It's in the scripture. That's what Jesus said. Or his father said, God, when they brought the person to heaven. I'll get his name in a minute. I get lost with the names. The one that wrote the book of Revelations. When God brought Muhammad to heaven, send the angel. He wasn't dead. He sent the angel to bring him to heaven, to show him all the things to come. All the things are in the book of Revelations. You don't see your preachers talking about it. They'll talk about everything else, but they ain't going to talk about the book of Revelation. That's now unfolding. That's what the book of Revelation was about. Things to come, thousands of years ago. But I'm not a preacher. I'm just a little old ordinary man that my spirit told me what I have to do. You don't have to listen to me. You got billions of people you can listen to. I'm not here to win fame or fortune. I'm here because of the children, because of the youth. I'm tired of watching the news. Simply as that. But if I don't watch the news, I don't know what's going on. I can't cover all the 7 cities at once. That's why I do this talk show, so that you can be informed of what needs to be done. It's not just a white thing or a black thing. It's a human thing. Humanity is at stake. Seniors don't work, can't sit on their front porch. Kids go to school being bullied to commit suicide. And we think that should be okay not to talk about it, not bring it to your attention. But we all fall short of grace. We all are doing something. The world is too big and the community is too small to turn their back on the next generation, the youth. I hope you join my campaign, because it's never about me. It's about what I come to do. And if you like to download my app, it's run across the screen. This is the app. If you go to your app store in your Android or Apple and look for this, type in W space V space D space M, WVDM, 24 hours a day with positive music and the best of the 757 artists. To the next time we meet, to the next time we greet, you've been listening and watching the best of the 757 Community Talk Show.